Welcome back to Side 2, and we return to local news read by Ali, and first, some sports news.
Enfield Town boosted their Ryman Premier Division playoff hopes after a 2-0 home win over Metropolitan Police on Saturday. The victory for Bradley Quinton's side helped move them up to 8th in the table and just 2 points off third-placed Tunbridge Angels. The Towners got off to a fast start in the contest, and only a vital tackle from Will Salmon denied Corrie Whiteley from giving them the lead. But hosts Enfield did not have to wait long for the breakthrough, as they opened the scoring after 16 minutes. Tyler Campbell sent in a superb delivery from the right-hand side, and Bobby Devine sent his powerful header past goalkeeper Craig King. It was certainly not all one-way traffic, though, as home shot stopper Nathan MacDonald was required to save efforts from both Leon Smith and Joe Turner. But there was another chance for Quinton's side to extend their lead before the break through Harry Ottaway, but the striker was denied when one-on-one with King. This meant the sides turned around for the second half, with Enfield holding a slender 1-goal lead. The hosts continued to put Met Police under pressure at the start of the second period, and King was again impressive as he parried a powerful strike from Ottaway. This proved even more significant, as from the next attack, Whiteley was fouled in the area by visiting skipper Steve Sutherland. Ryan Doyle stepped up and struck the penalty with authority past King to give the Towners a comfortable lead. The visitors almost pulled one back through Andre de Costa, but his free kick landed on the roof of the net. But Met Police were reduced to 10 men shortly afterwards when Rob Bartley was sent off for a dangerous challenge on Ottaway. Turner almost got on the score sheet for Met Police, but he narrowly missed the target with his strike. Ottaway was nearly scored a superb solo goal after embarking on a run, but he fired his shot just wide of the post. It did not ultimately matter, though, with the hosts keeping a clean sheet and picking up a valuable 3 points after last week's defeat to previous leaders Dulwich Hamlet. The Towners faced a trip to Hampton and Richmond Borough last night in the Middlesex County Cup. Quinton's side followed this game up with a trip to Strugglers VCD Athletic in the league.
Enfield and Haringey talent, Callum Wilkinson, made an excellent start to the year after setting a new national junior record. In the under-20 England Athletics indoor 3 kilometres walk staged at Sheffield, he finished half a minute in front of his closest rival and set a new national junior record of 11 minutes 39.87. Wilkinson, in the middle of his heavy winter schedule, was understandably pleased to perform so well, but put things into perspective by underlining his main target this year is to win a medal in the 10 kilometres event at the World Junior Championships. The 2016 Enfield Race Walking League got underway at QE2 playing fields, where Ashford's Chris Hobbs and Aldershot's Penelope Cummings triumphed in a 5-mile event. The best-placed club walker was John Ralph in 6th place, after a time of 48 minutes and 8 seconds. The next fixture is on February the 20th, and there will be a 1-mile trial event at 12:45 p.m. More information is available at, and there's a web address coming up, www.enfieldleague, all one word, .weebly, that's WEEBLY.com.
Saracens booked their place in the quarter-finals of the European Champions Cup with a match to spare by securing a 33-17 bonus point win at home to Ulster on Saturday. Tries from Duncan Taylor, Maro Ijoji, Billy Vunipola and Shulk Brits, plus 13 points from the boot of Owen Farrell, ensured that Sarries maintained their 100% record in the competition as they wrapped up top spot in Pool 1 and also guaranteed themselves a home tie in the last 8 as one of the top 4 seeds. A dominant showing from the pack once again provided the cornerstone of the host's triumph, but it was Farrell who was named man of the match after another assured display, and the fly half was delighted with the result. "This competition is massive. It's the best of the best," he said. We don't pick and choose when to turn up in matches because we want to win every game. But we have been up there in the Champions Cup in the last few years. We've been working hard this season to get off to the kind of start we've had, but now we've got to make sure it stays that way. We always look forward to European matches, and having lost for the first time this season, the previous weekend, we were looking for a reaction. We worked hard to get our edge back. We had a few harsh words with ourselves after the defeat against Harlequins. Ulster took their first chance very well, but we fought back and our set piece was great. This weekend sees the final round of pool matches in the Champions Cup, with Saracens making the trip to Toulouse on Saturday.
Enfield Ignatians conceded a late penalty, falling to a 15-14 defeat at Tabard in London 2 North West on Saturday. Ignatians responded to Tabard's first try with a 5-pointer of their own after prop Steve Taylor forced his way over from close range. Jordan Wilson, having earlier missed a very kickable penalty, added the extras to make it 7-7 at half-time. Tabard had the edge in the second half, and their more effective kicking game and ability to stick to a simple but effective game plan saw left winger Rhys Lewis go over in the corner for his brace. Ignatians can feel a little aggrieved, though, as the final pass went forward. The visitors responded with a catch and drive try, and following some excellent work from second row Rob Wyer, number 8 Wes Warren made the all-important final breach. Wilson added the extras as Ignatians edged 14-12 in front. A failure to look after the ball cost Ignatians dearly, and after second row Aaron James Nichols was sin-binned for a swinging arm in the tackle in the final minute of normal time, Tabard were handed a very kickable penalty opportunity. Jack Riley landed the kick and broke the visitors' hearts. Coach Ali Cook said, "Despite our injury woes, I thought Tabard deserved to win. We served up a poor imitation of the rugby we aspire to play. We were far too disjointed. Our patterns of play simply weren't good enough, and we didn't play enough good rugby." It doesn't get any easier for Ignatians as they face one of the division's top seeds, Hammersmith and Fulham, at Donkey Lane on Saturday.
Cockfosters FC failed to get the full reward for a good performance on Saturday, as they had to settle for a 0-0 draw from their trip to Bedford in the Spartan Premier Division. Playing for the first time in 2016, following a succession of postponements because of the weather, Cockfosters dominated the match and created more than enough chances to have emerged victorious. And, although they were unable to take any of the opportunities which they created as the match ended goalless, manager Dean Barker was encouraged by what he saw from his side. Some of the lads hadn't played for 3 or 4 weeks, so it was understandable that there was a bit of rustiness, he said. "Overall, I'm happy with how we played. We hit the bar, had a shot cleared off the line, and could have had a couple of penalties, but it just was not to be. It's a shame that we couldn't nick a goal, but it was another good performance, and it extends our unbeaten run. Our away form has generally been good all season, and it was great to keep another clean sheet. Since we brought in Remy Gaimard on loan from Barnet, we've really tightened up at the back." Cockfosters, who remain 8th in the table, make the trip to Holmer Green on Saturday at 3 p.m. Meanwhile, Enfield 1893 crashed to a humbling 6-2 defeat at Hullbridge Sports in the Essex Senior League on Saturday. The E's had enjoyed a shock victory over Ilford in their previous match, but they came back down to earth with a bump as they were heavily beaten. Joe Pattison gave the visitors an early lead, but Hullbridge hit back and moved 3-1 ahead by the interval. The hosts added 2 more goals before Brett Munyard struck for the E's midway through the second half, but Hullbridge added a 6th late on to set the seal on their triumph. Enfield 1893 face home games against Barking on Saturday, 3 p.m, and Hullbridge Sports again on Tuesday at 7:45 p.m.
And now we have a letter from Steve Byrne of Connaught Grange, Palmer's Green. As a bus driver, I do feel offended by the Green Party London Assembly member, Darren Johnson, having a go at bus drivers in various London publications with regards to serious injuries and deaths involving London buses. Blow a whistle on bad driving in the Advertiser, January 13th. Any death or injury is a tragedy, but what Mr Johnson does not inform the public is that on most cases, with the help of onboard CCTV, the bus drivers involved were cleared of any responsibility. He would be better off putting his energy and resources into road safety for pedestrians. The public very rarely use the crossing facilities provided. Many wear headphones or are looking at mobile devices as they cross roads, and a large number of other drivers also wear headphones and look at mobile devices. For some reason, pedestrians as well as vehicles will pull out and cross the path of buses, but not trucks, and I can only put this down to buses being big, red, bright and friendly looking. Maybe Mr Johnson, before commenting any further on bus drivers, should stand by the edge of any high street in London and stop, look and listen.
Here's a letter from G.A. Musey of Mitchell Road, Palmer's Green. I agree that a building for community use on the Broomfield House site is well overdue. It is remarkable that the facilities now under discussion with the Broomfield House Trust, the Friends of Broomfield Park and the Council are identical with Whitbread's PLC's offer in 1996, supported by English Heritage, to restore Broomfield House to its original state at no cost to the council. If it is still available, the council's booklet, The Restoration of Broomfield House, makes interesting reading. In 2015, two formidable barriers stand in the way of progress. The cost of re-provision is now in the region of £6 to £7 million, and ancient covenants restrict commercial interest. Even if a benevolent donor provided the money, the council would have to challenge the covenants before moving forward. I too remember outdoor activities in Broomfield Park, but they are separated from the house. Some have moved to better sites, but others could, and some do, continue in the park.
And now I have a letter from a cyclist. Well, I think he must be a cyclist. The quantity of letters appearing in the Enfield Independent, whimpering in various degrees of despair about the Cycle Enfield scheme, suggests that its opponents are aware that they are facing a losing battle. The case for car control, not quite, I admit, in the same category as for gun control in the USA, is incontrovertible. The greedy demands of the internal combustion engine have been more than met at vast cost for over a century, and the rights of cyclists and pedestrians are now at last being recognised. When opponents of the scheme assert that the real solution to congestion, road rage and air pollution lies in creating even more space in towns for cars, I think of the Duke of Wellington, who resented the coming of the railways on the grounds that they would encourage the lower classes to move about. How appalling that those damn cyclists should be permitted to get in the way of my motor. That's from R.P. Blows, Elmwood.
This is another letter from John Ryan of Ladbroke Road, Enfield. Over the Christmas period, I had to attend Chase Farm Hospital to be seen at the non-urgent clinic. Given that I was in extreme pain, I parked in the hospital parking and was surprised to see that there was no parking barrier, as had been the case when I had last been at Chase Farm. Believing that the parking fees had been suspended, I attended the clinic and was offered a great level of service, and was asked to come back later in the day to see the out-of-hours GP, as I needed a prescription for pain relief. I was later seen by the GP at Chase Farm and received the prescription that I needed. Subsequently, I received 2 letters from Gemini Parking Services demanding a £200 payment for non-payment of parking fees at Chase Farm Hospital. Naturally, I attempted to speak to the company, but they refused, saying that I had to write or email them to request exemption from the fees. As you can guess, I am outraged that my local hospital has allowed this company to take over the parking at Chase Farm and condone the issuing of £100 fines for people like myself making a genuine mistake. I feel that the removal of the ticket barrier is a scam to let people believe that there are no parking fees, and given that most people attending hospital are in need of urgent care, they do not always have time to look around to see what the correct way is to pay for hospital parking. I am sure that I am not alone in being issued with these outrageous fines. I have written to my local MP and the Chief Executive of Chase Farm Hospital to raise what I feel is a genuine grievance.
Putting the treat into treatment at Chase Farm Hospital is a new service offering patients a soothing massage. Thousands of patients have benefited over the years from the complementary therapy at Barnet Hospital, another of the hospitals run by the Royal Free London NHS Trust. And from last week, the service has been extended to Chase Farm in the Ridgeway, Enfield. Funded by the hospital's charity, a team of masseuses will help patients cope better with their illnesses by reducing pain and easing anxiety. Keith Hunt, who leads the team, said massage complemented medical treatment and most patients could benefit from it. At Chase Farm, we will be starting with oncology and haematology patients and also rehabilitation patients to provide some gentle massage. All treatments are carried out with the relaxing Swedish method, with no depth and no pressure points used. It's a repetitive stroke, and in just 15 minutes a difference can be felt. The sessions are free to patients who will be referred to us by staff. One of the first to receive a massage from therapist Jill Alexander was chemotherapy patient Chris Starakidis. When I came in from my chemo, I was stiff in my neck, and it's really helped, he said. I think patients will really be up for a massage.
I've got a letter. It says from Anthony Nolan. I think it means from the Anthony Nolan Trust, with some interesting suggestions. Have you ever thought of doing some fundraising for charity, but were not sure which charity to do it for? What about doing it for Anthony Nolan? In the past 40 years, this charity has saved more than 9,200 people's lives from blood cancers like leukemia and aplastic anemia. You can literally do anything for this wonderful charity. Run the London Marathon, cycle from London to Paris, climb Ben Nevis, or sit in a tub of cold baked beans. If you are interested, please look at the charity's website, anthonynolan.org.uk.
Despite a lack of proper coverage on the justified action taken by junior doctors to strike for better working conditions, the response from passers-by, be they drivers or pedestrians, showing their overwhelming support was something I have not experienced for a long time in many campaigns, as fellow councillors and myself stood side by side with junior doctors outside North Middlesex University Hospital. We all braved the weather to show our support for the junior doctors, who are concerned not only for themselves, but also for the future of the NHS, and to ensure the NHS remains as such and services are improved, not reduced. This a campaign to safeguard the interests of patients and the future of the NHS. I, like many others, had an appointment that day which was cancelled. I was informed the day before at 6 p.m. and did not choose to complain about the doctors, but the instigators of this, none other than the present government. Overworked and tired doctors can make mistakes at the expense of the patients. The government cannot see the dangers, or rather prefers not to understand, and play politics with people's lives. We live in a democratic society, and people should feel free to express their anger and frustration on the efforts exercised by the present government to ruin the NHS step by step. This is just not on. If there is no settlement by Tuesday, January 26th, then again I will be present giving my support to the junior doctors come rain or shine, should they decide to strike again. And that's a letter from Councillor George Sava, Hazelbury Ward.
An athlete put teenagers through their paces as they prepare to raise money for comic relief. Long jumper JJ Jagid, who competed in the 2012 European Athletics Championships, visited students from Kingsmead School in Southbury Road, Enfield. He met the students in preparation for Sport Mile Relief in March, which sees hundreds of people run, swim or cycle to raise money for projects in London and across the UK. Tyler Karakand, 13, said, "I loved doing the warm-up and PE lesson with JJ Jagid. It was lots of fun, and now I can't wait to do the mile. Having him at my school was really exciting. It made me realise why PE is so important." The school in Enfield teamed up with Mr Jagid to encourage schools across London to do their bit and help raise money for sport relief. Hundreds of schools in the region will be doing the Sport Relief Mile on March the 18th. Last year, Kingsmead School raised £1,413.14 by taking part in the challenge.
Centenarian Kate Muller entertained guests at her birthday party by playing the piano. Music enthusiast Mrs. Muller was joined by her daughter Nadia at the gathering at the Honeysuckle House Care Home in Oakthorpe Road, Palmer's Green on Friday. Mayor of Enfield, Patricia Akechi, also attended the celebrations, and guests were entertained with songs from the 1940s, 1950s and 1960s. Nadia said, "My mother loves the piano. That's definitely her thing. She likes to play light-hearted music. She played on her birthday, and it was excellent." Longevity runs in the family, as Kate's mother, Greta, also reached 100, and her father, Jonah, was 99 when he died. Nadia said, "I really think genes have an awful lot to do with it. I used to say to Mum when she was about 80, 'I think you'll live to be 100, and she would tell me not to be ridiculous.' She added she did not know the secret to a long life, but her mother was not keen on taking medication, and her diet was a meat and potato one. Kate was born in Berlin, where her father, Jonah Voronowski, was a doctor. Although she managed to leave Germany just before the outbreak of World War II, the borders had been closed before Kate and her mother were able to leave. She moved to France after the war and met husband-to-be Albert. They married in Paris, and Nadia was born in the French capital. The couple later settled in New York and lived there for many years with Nadia, who has since forged a career in corporate sales and once ran a bed and breakfast in Manhattan. Her parents moved to the UK in the 1980s, when Kate's parents, who had settled in Winchmore Hill, needed care. After Albert's death in 1982, Kate stayed on in the family home in Halstead Gardens and later met Cyril Martin. The couple were together until Mr. Martin's death, and they attended church locally.
We now have some information for you about what's on for you next week. On Monday, we have the Trials of Galileo at the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, at 7:45 p.m. It's presented by the Icarus Theatre Collective, written by Emmy Award winner Nick Young and starring Tim Hardy of RSC/RADA. Tickets are £15.50 or £13.50, and the box office number is 020 8807 6680. On Tuesday, also at the Dugdale Centre, we have At the Mountains of Madness at 7:45 p.m. Again, presented by Icarus Theatre Collective. Tickets are £15.50 or £13.50, and again the box office number is 0208 807 6680. On Wednesday at Forty Hall in Forty Hill, Enfield, we have The Black Sheep, The Darker Side of Felt, and that's a free exhibition running until May the 8th.
2 young actors have won roles in films set to hit the big screens next year, while another is appearing on the West End stage. Emily Tasker, 9, won a role in Warner Brothers' The Conjuring 2, which tells the story of the 1970s Enfield poltergeist. Graham Road, Enfield, was used for filming, and scenes were also shot at Enfield Grammar School. Emily won her role through the Enfield branch of the Pauline Quirk Academy of Performing Arts, based at Highlands School in World's End Lane, Winchmore Hill, and was encouraged to try acting even though her first love is singing. She said, "When I first joined, I was just proud of my singing skills, but as we started many different topics in acting, I found that singing wasn't the only thing I could do." The film is due for release in June. Another actor from the Academy, Brianna Shan, 10, has won a role in Ken Loach's new film, I, Daniel Blake, about a joiner whose sickness forces him to seek help. She is playing the part of Daisy, the daughter of single mum Katie, played by Hayley Squires of Call the Midnight Wife fame, who has to move 300 miles from London to start a new life. The film was shot in Newcastle. 8-year-old Jack Farino, who also attends the drama school, is currently performing in Billy Elliot, the musical at the Victoria Palace Theatre. He said, "I'm very proud for getting the part. The rehearsals were hard work, but very rewarding and great fun. All the people I have met helped me learn and prepare for my role. My opening night was amazing."
The head of the Catholic Church in the UK, performed a special blessing when he officially opened a new 2.18 million sixth form centre in Enfield yesterday afternoon. Cardinal Vincent Nichols was at St Anne's High School for Girls in Oakthorpe Road, Palmer's Green. After attending Mass and delivering his blessing, the Cardinal toured the stunning new facility and seemed suitably impressed. The centre was built with £1 million that the school secured from the government following a successful joint bid with Enfield Council, and an additional £1.18 million from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Westminster's Education Service. It has a large multi-purpose area which can be used as a common room for study, year assemblies and lectures. Other rooms are equipped with private study desks to accommodate computers and lighting. Other features include classrooms with facilities for split seminars, a media suite, and space for students to hear visiting speakers from businesses and professions. It offers the best facilities possible for our sixth formers, said head teacher Siobhan Gilling. Our graphics students took an active role in the planning and design of this centre. They met with governors and architects and were able to select furnishings and colour schemes. We have achieved fantastic A-level and GCSE results in recent years, and these new facilities will help us to build on this success. This new centre will improve and enhance the learning environment for our students, she added. Ifa Orhan, Cabinet Member for Education, Children's Services and Protection, said the Council had worked closely with the school, its governing body, the Diocese of Westminster, and consultants to ensure the centre helped to maintain excellent teaching standards and learning. The enthusiasm for this centre is a sign that the whole school is continuing to aim for and achieve excellence and is contributing to the Council's plans to raise achievements for all young people, she added.
More police will be put on the streets to help deal with a potential terrorist attack. Firearms officers will be given extra training in the wake of the Paris attacks last November, where over 130 people were killed by jihadists. Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Bernard Hogan-Howe hopes to recruit 600 new firearms officers, bringing the total number to 2,800. Sir Bernard said, "It is my job to make sure the Met has plans in place to keep the people of London as safe as they can be. The tragic attacks in Paris reinforce the vital role firearms officers will be called upon to play on behalf of all of us, to run forward and confront the deadly threat that such attackers would pose. While I sincerely hope it is something that never happens on our streets, it is only right that the Met are as ready as can be. In the days following Paris, I asked my firearms team to increase the number of armed response vehicles available on our streets. Now I have decided that we take the steps to increase these numbers on a permanent basis. This increase will more than double the numbers of armed response vehicles on our streets and grow a highly trained specialist part of our capability. This is because we know the threat we currently face is likely to be a spontaneous attack that requires a fast response."
Thanks very much. That was Caroline bringing this week's edition to a close. Just before we go, thank you to all the girls at Enfield County School who raised £103 for the Talking Newspaper at their Christmas concert last month. And we've reached the end of our programme for this week, so thank you very much for listening. And from the team of Ali, John, Caroline, me, Philip, and Colin on the controls, it's
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette, if it's a cassette, into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call my colleague Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with the Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.